So right now we have, okay, first of all, this is bothering me. It's not on the edge of the center circle, so I'm going to adjust that. Maybe if I just make the petal bigger. Yeah, cool. Happy with that. So obviously we want to position the petals, the 12 petals, evenly around this circle. How we're going to do that is by using a rotate transformation instead. And I'm going to say, as an example, rotate, uh, rotate 30, right? And so right now, as you can see, it's kind of overlapping a little bit. And that's because I just realized I forgot to put in an angle mode, degrees. Oh, degrees. And so don't forget to put that because I meant 30 degrees in this case. And so I need to communicate to the computer that I mean that in degrees format. And now we have the flowers evenly spaced out. Another way that you can do this is you can also set it as 360 divided by your petals. And so if I run that, it's going to show the same effect. But that way, if I change this to say just 9 petals, it will still lay it out evenly to fill the entire circle. So now we have one flower. I might put the center circle, like I might write the center circle after the petal, so that way it covers the petals and it looks a little bit more like a flower. I'm going to annotate it as well. I'm going to say center circle, and then this section is petals. So, and don't forget to save this as well. So almost forgot to save midway, save your work, save your work. Next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through how you can make this one flower into its very own function outside of draw and outside of setup. And you'll see how this can become useful for us. So what I'm going to do is write a new function below my function draw. So I'm going to type function, let's say flower, like draw flower, open close parentheses, open curly bracket, close curly bracket. And now I have a new function, and I'm going to cut everything that is, the petals and the circle, everything that makes the flower. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it into this new function that we've just made. And once I've done that, don't forget to also call the function that you've just made into either your setup or your draw function. In this case, let's draw a flower here. And you basically just type the name of the function, and then you put open, close brackets, and then the semicolon. And so now it has the same effect, but what you've basically done is just move it into its own function to separate it from the rest of the function draw. Now, why we do this is so that if I want to, for example, have to do to the flowers what I did to the petals, because in our example, we have the flowers rotating in a circle and they're spinning around each other. So I need this flower to be done multiple times. So first thing I'm going to do is define how many flowers I want. So I'm going to set a new variable like let num flowers equals, let's say I want 10 flowers. Cool. And then I'm going to write my for loop for let I, sorry, I'm going to just use j, just so I don't confuse it with this one, for let j equals 0. Again, that variable can be any letter, any word that you would like. So let j equals 0, j is less than num flowers, a plus plus. And so that's the for loop that is going to repeat our flowers 10 times. And I'm going to place my draw flower into there. Okay, so we can't see it yet because technically the 10 flowers are stacked on top of each other in the same position. I'm going to try adding a translate here because we want them to kind of like spin around the center. So none of them is like at the center, but they're like spinning around it sort of orbiting around it. So I'm going to push this flower a little bit further out from the center, and I'm going to do that by using a translate function. I'm just going to write like 60, 0 in this draw flower, in the top of this draw flower function. All right. And so what that has done is basically, because the draw flower is being looped, and remember that transformations like translate or rotate, transformations are cumulative. In other words, they add up. And so as this is being looped, it's going to keep translating each time before it draws a new flower. So it's moving and moving and moving. If I want it to not do that, I can use a push and pop function at the top and bottom of this function, this draw flower function, and now they can all still stay in one place. Because what I want is not for them to form a line, but I want them to circle around like that. So we're going to do to them what we did to our petals, and we're going to say rotate 360 divided by number of flowers. So let's try this. And there we go. Yay, so now the flowers are spread evenly in a circle. Another thing that I wanted to show you guys is with when you turn a specific object, and by object I mean, it's really a set of commands, right? You have your petals colors, this fill, you have your ellipses that draw your petals, you have the center circle, which is a fill and then an ellipse. So it's a set of commands that you file into a new function. Now, what you can also do with this is that you can make it customizable each time you call it. So what I mean is, for example, if I want to turn this into a customizable variable, I can turn this pink into petal color. So give it a new variable, and I'm going to place petal color into the brackets of the function. And so that means every time I call this function, every time I call the draw flower function, I'm going to have to specify in the brackets what I want this variable to be. In other words, what I want the color of my petals to be. It's going to give me orange flowers. And so this can be applied to anything within this set of commands. So for example, the size, right? The size of the center circle. So in other words, it would be this one. So this is the size of that white circle. If I want to change it into size, and then I'm going to put in the bracket size. And so that means I need to specify a size now. And if I say it's 50 now, and now my white circles are much smaller. I'm going to cancel out the for loop now, just so we're not, it's not super confusing to look at. Yeah, so, and then you can also tie, so for example, in this case, I want the size of my petals to follow in scale of what my center circle is. So I can do like a size divided by 2. I can turn this into size divided by 2, and now they're responsive. And so now all I need to do is change the sizing, and they will just follow both the petals and the centers. You can also, of course, change your translate. So if you want to move it, so remember that all of this is relative to the center of the canvas, because we've translated everything to width divided by 2 and height divided by 2. So if you want to position it, in a certain X or Y distance from the middle of the canvas, as we know, so this translate is what decides that. So we can change this into X position, Y position. And so I'm going to place X pause, Y pause as an addition in the brackets. And so that means now, if I have the draw flower function, I'm going to have to specify what's the petal color, what size do I want them, and what's the X and Y position, what's the X and Y distance from the middle of the canvas. So in this case, if I want 150, 0, but yeah, hopefully that illustrates the idea.